On World News Tonight this Friday, one of the president's toughest critics in the Senate wants the case against Mr. Clinton dismissed. The possibility of a chemical or biological attack on the U.S. itself. The president says the country needs to be better prepared.
Oh my God! Ow!
Tornadoes in the South again. This is the worst January there has ever been. And the most brutal winter on record, a city under siege by the most fearsome army in the world, the Century, on Friday.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. In Washington today, a reason for Bill Clinton to believe that there is a chance that his impeachment trial in the Senate may be dismissed. Maybe. Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia, who's a major power in the Senate, said today that on Monday he will move to have the case against the president dismissed. Now, Senator Byrd is a Democrat, and the Republicans represent the majority. But Senator Byrd is a constitutional scholar, sometimes called the conscience of the Senate on such matters. And if he says it's okay to dismiss the case, other politicians in both parties may decide it's okay to follow. The trial was in a new phase when this happened today, and so we start with ABC's Linda Douglas.
The abrupt announcement from West Virginia's Robert Byrd that he will move to dismiss the case stunned senators of both parties. Byrd is one of the president's harshest Democratic critics. But in his statement, he said the necessary two-thirds for conviction are not there, and warned that lengthening this trial will only prolong and deepen the divisive, bitter, and polarizing effect that this sorry affair has visited upon our nation. A motion to dismiss the case was anticipated, but not from Byrd. He was expected to argue that senators should complete the process through to the end. As word of Byrd's motion reached the Senate floor, House Manager Henry Hyde rose to implore senators not to do it.
By dismissing the articles of impeachment before you have a complete trial, you are sending a terrible message to the people of the country. You're saying, I guess, perjury is okay if it's about sex.
As the trial wore on, it was clear many minds are already made up. The written questions were phrased in a way to give partisan advantage to one side or the other. Here's an example of Republicans tossing softballs to the House managers.
Is it the opinion of the House managers that the president's defense team in the presentation mischaracterized any factual or legal issue in this case?
But the real action was outside the chamber. Republicans rushed to the microphones to oppose Byrd's motion. Democrats ran out to praise it. Now, the Democrats are predicting that it is possible that they might succeed in ending the trial without voting on whether to call witnesses. No Republican has said that yet, but Byrd is a powerful man in the Senate, and his aides say he is determined to win this one.
Thanks very much, Linda. Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill. The question, so what does the White House think? We're going to check in very briefly with ABC's Sam Donaldson. Sam, they think they're out of the woods here?
Well, Peter, they're very pleased by what happened today, and they think there's a chance the trial will be short-circuited next week. But even if that doesn't happen, they think this is another indication that this president will not be convicted and removed from office.
Thanks, Sam, very much. Sam at the White House has a major report on another issue of policy today. We'll be back to him in just a moment. The National Weather Service said today this is the worst January on record for tornadoes. More than 100 so far across the country. And in the past 24 hours alone, 57 tornadoes cut across 7 states in the nation's midsection. 8 people have died. It was a terrifying night for thousands of others. We have 2 reports tonight, beginning with ABC's Steve Osunsami, who's in Little Rock, Arkansas.
This is what's left of the Harvest Foods grocery store. Last night, paramedics rescued 16 people from the debris. The store's pharmacist died this morning. Another person died when a tree fell on her car. And even homeowners who hid in their basements and bathrooms were among the injured.
It's going to be okay, honey. It's going to be okay.
Across Arkansas, unseasonably warm weather spawned more than 24 twisters.
There's a tornado right out my back door. You can see it. Oh my God. Ow!
Just the sight of what was to come encouraged many people to leave town quickly. The tornadoes nearly destroyed the small town of McRae. In Little Rock, this neighborhood of historic homes was wiped out.
I think I'm probably still in shock because it still hasn't quite set in.
Tonight, everyone who has a house still standing will be allowed to come back home and try to salvage what they can. But making a bad situation worse are looters. Police have already arrested more than a dozen. Steve Osunsami, ABC News, Little Rock.
This is Aaron Hayes in Clarksville, Tennessee, where, as in Little Rock, the tornado targeted this town's entire historic district, clawing away at 100-year-old buildings, leaving a tangled mess. The county courthouse, police headquarters, the local newspaper, all are in shambles.
What we've seen of downtown area is just devastating. It's like it's been bombed.
Top part of the courthouse missing. I mean, it's just a mess. And the guy went around, looked in the back door, and was like, oh, it's coming, and we jumped down, and then it like hit.
The twister struck just after 4 this morning. The National Weather Service had issued a tornado warning, but few were aware of it. There are no warning sirens in Clarksville.
I heard the thing coming, and I knew what it was. We got in the bathroom, we felt the roof go.
Making this all the more difficult is the fact that Clarksville is still cleaning up from storms that hit this past Sunday. And folks here remain uneasy tonight because these storms are not over yet. The system that spawned the tornadoes from Arkansas across to Tennessee is still very intense and is expected to drift eastward overnight. There are tornado watches already in effect for 5 states tonight. Aaron Hayes, ABC News, Clarksville, Tennessee.
When we return, bioterrorism, preparing the nation, trying to anyway, for uncertainty.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Chevy Trucks.
Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
No more excuses. Zyban is here. Prescription medicine, only available from your doctor. Ask your doctor about Zyban or call 1-888-650-PILL to find out more. Zyban. Now you have another choice.
Okay, you probably think they look alike. But with Gateway, you get basic help over the phone for as long as you own it. After a month, you pay for it. Here, you get a color printer. Nope, not here. This one you can trade in toward the purchase of a new one after 2 years. Yours forever. Still think they look alike? We'll build you a PC with an Intel Pentium 2 processor for $1,598. Call us or come into Gateway Country.
I'm Lisa Patton in the News 2 Storm Center. We have a tornado warning for Lincoln County. If you'll look at Storm Tracker 2000, you can see an intense thunderstorm cell that is just south of Fayetteville. Let's go to Storm Tracker 2000 so you can see that cell. Here it is just on the south side of Fayetteville, and it is moving off to the northeast like the rest of these storms have. A tornado was also spotted on the ground, not just indicated by Doppler radar. We'll put it into motion so you can see the movement of the storm line. Now, the line actually is just east of Murfreesboro, around Nolensville, and goes all the way down to Fayetteville, but the intense part is here just on the south side of Fayetteville. A tornado warning is in effect for Lincoln County until 6:15. Folks in the path of this storm need to take cover immediately. Go to the inside interior room of your house, lowest level if you possibly can. Again, a tornado was reported on the ground just south of Fayetteville. It is moving very quickly off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. We'll put a quick storm track on it for you so you can know what to expect. And again, if we have any other warnings, we will certainly let you know about those immediately. Fayetteville, the storm is right on top of you. About 5:45, you'll be on the northern fringe of it. Lynchburg, it could be to you by 6:04 if it holds together. You do not have a warning yet, but we'll let you know if one is issued. Now back to the news.
Is hit. The emergency personnel will have a plan.
If there is an outbreak someplace, calling in the Marines. It is making sure that you have a public health system, a surveillance and a treatment system.
If such attacks occur, to coordinate all this, the president is considering whether to appoint a military commander-in-chief for the defense of the American homeland, with power to supersede civilian authority. That worries some civil libertarians.
The problem is that the military includes soldiers who are trained to kill, not to protect people's civil liberties.
Attorney General Reno says Justice Department attorneys are working on the problem of constitutional safeguards. In the meantime, White House officials emphasize they do not know of any imminent attack. This was another in an almost daily series of presidential budget announcements. And they say, Peter, this one should not be taken out of proportion.
Thanks very much, Sam. Sam at the White House again. You heard Mr. Clinton say that this is not cause for panic, but concern. Many people who study terrorism think any extra concern is a good thing because the U.S. has a long way to go before it could handle an attack. So here's ABC's Ned Potter.
In major cities, they've been playing war games lately, running drills to figure out how they would handle an attack involving poison gas or a deadly virus. Experts say even a small attack can do great harm.
I'm concerned more about the boat in a harbor or the truck driving through a city or whatever than I am about the big battlefield scenario.
Imagine a jumbo jet or an office building where one vial of smallpox or anthrax could be released into a crowded environment. Hundreds of people could be infected and could each infect hundreds more in the days before they themselves become ill. In such a scenario, the death toll would be massive unless we are ready.
The difference between an effective and an ineffective response to a bioterrorism event in one of our communities could be the difference between hundreds of deaths and literally thousands and thousands of deaths.
What can the government do against biological attack? Prevention is almost impossible, and emergency room doctors are ill-prepared. So the White House suggests training them to know the signs of smallpox or plague, diseases they've never seen before. Then plans would have to be in place to quarantine the sick and immunize the rest of the population.
Our only hope is that we can get most of this done in time before such an event might ever occur.
Doctors say the danger of attack in any one place is very small, but the consequences could be tremendous. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
On the money tonight, another strong opinion on the President's State of the Union proposals the other night. A taxpayer watchdog group says that if all the initiatives Mr. Clinton proposed were enacted, federal spending would increase by $288 billion and create a $100 billion deficit in just a year. One of the country's biggest discount retailers is going out of business. Caldor will close 145 stores. And 20,000 employees will lose their jobs. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 143 points to close at 9120. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down 5 points. Just a couple of items about travel. In Portland, Oregon, the first car rentals by the hour, $1.50 an hour plus 40 cents a mile. Good news for Canadians who think that their dollar is so weak, 66 cents to the U.S. dollar, that they can't afford to visit Florida. 150 Florida tourist businesses have agreed to accept the Canadian dollar at par. Canadians who go to Florida in the winter, snowbirds they're called, are big business. When we come back, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Juan Antonio Samaranch. Will his success be his undoing?
Only Afrin has special formulas for nasal congestion.
Allergy congestion. Children's congestion.
And now for immediate relief of severe congestion. Afrin. Breakthroughs in breathing.
100 of us in Lafayette, Colorado ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It helped 98 of us lower our cholesterol. How much did mine go down? Bingo! Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
The world as seen from our all-new V6 power plant. The 215 horsepower Intrigue. Now with low 2.9 financing for $2,100 in average finance savings. Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Start to command performance. Start something.
Sorry I'm late. I was at my doctor and... Oh, did you ask her about the things you've been reading about menopause? I did. She said...
It's important to consider menopause and the consequences of its associated estrogen loss.
You mean like hot flashes? Hot flashes and night sweats, but other things too, like vaginal dryness. It can interfere with intimacy.
And osteoporosis. I know that menopause increases our risk for fractures.
Dr. Hartman also said...
Studies show that menopause contributes to heart disease in women. Additional ongoing studies are investigating the connection between menopause and Alzheimer's disease, colon cancer, blindness, and tooth loss.
I had no idea. My doctor and I decided to stick with a program we've agreed on for years. I should speak to my doctor.
When considering menopause, consider the entire body of evidence. Speak to your doctor about what you can do to help protect your health during and after menopause.
The International Olympic Committee scandal grew dramatically today. Libya's IOC member resigned when it was revealed that his son received scholarships from boosters trying to get the games for Salt Lake City. He is the second IOC member to step down. There was another major piece of news today about Sydney, Australia's successful bid for the year 2000 Summer Games. Hours before the IOC voted, Australia apparently tried to nail down its bid with cash. Here's ABC's Sheila McVicker.
It was in luxurious Monte Carlo that the Australians made what appears to be a crucial offer. The president of the Australian Olympic Committee offered what he now calls inducements, $35,000 each to 2 African IOC members, ostensibly for their national Olympic programs.
The winner is Sydney.
The next night, Sydney won the Games by only 2 votes. This top Australian Olympic official conceded it could look like the Games were bought.
He admits that he was trying to reassure himself that Sydney would win. And the night before and the timing gives discomfort to people.
At IOC headquarters in Lausanne, it's going to be a bad weekend. Today, staff are already removing the photograph of the latest IOC member to resign in disgrace. But this man's photo is not likely to disappear.
His Excellency, Juan Antonio Samaranch.
His many supporters say Mr. Samaranch should be held responsible, not for corruption, but for building the Olympic Games.
President Samaranch saved the Olympic movement. President Samaranch took us from bankruptcy, from boycott, to the golden age.
That began in 1984. Los Angeles ushered in a whole new era of corporate sponsorship and promotion. Critics say that as the stakes grew, the Samaranch style became even more imperious. Mr. Samaranch is used to power, and throughout his long career, he was comfortable with those who exercised it absolutely, including his years as a sports minister in General Franco's fascist Spain. He apologizes for none of it.
I am very proud of my political past.
And prouder still of his reign here, a reign that is threatened now only if the big Olympic sponsors decide he is part of the problem. Sheila McVicker, ABC News, Lausanne.
The news today, the Pope has arrived in Mexico City to an enthusiastic welcome. John Paul II's visit comes almost 20 years after he made the first foreign trip of his papacy to Mexico. This is the Pope's 85th overseas trip, and he said today he still has the travel bug. In the Middle East tonight, it is much clearer that King Hussein of Jordan, who's had a serious battle with cancer, has changed his mind about who his successor will be. It will no longer be his brother, Crown Prince Hassan, seen there beside him. Sources in the royal palace say the king will name a new successor as early as tomorrow, and it will be one of his sons. In a moment, extraordinary courage, the city that wouldn't surrender, the century on Friday.
When was the last time you were serenaded off the coast of Italy? When was the last time you discovered European hill towns, grand capitals, and country after country, unpacking only once? And when was the last time you understood what Europeans call the sweetness of living every day? Holland America, it's time.
When blue highways beckon, answer the call in the quick, agile DeVille. With standard traction control and the power of the North Star system, you're in charge. And there's never been a better time. Because right now, the 1999 DeVille is only $4.99 a month. DeVille, for the time of your life, at your Cadillac dealer.
There are certain things your body is going through that the chemo is doing to you. I was tired, very, very tired. One time, my grandchildren were all over. And they all went out and got ice cream. And they're all lined up on the porch, all with ice cream. They start from the age of 3 all the way up to 18 years of age. What a photograph that had to be. I did not have the energy to go upstairs to grab the camera. I missed the photograph. To me, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Go out. Live your life. That's what I'm doing now.
With all we have to do today, does it make sense to keep color on your hair for 30 minutes when you can get rid of the gray in 5? Just 5. Great color, body, and shine in 5 gentle minutes. Just 5. Smart hair color. Works for me.
As it's Friday, our closer look at the century. From almost every part of the country this year, there have been reports on the hardships that people sometimes go through in the winter. And it led us to think about the worst winter experience this century. Surely the winter of 1941, in the middle of World War II, when Adolf Hitler tried to realize his dream of conquering the Soviet Union. Tonight, the siege of Leningrad.
We saw a crowd of people, and they were so frightened. My husband asked what the matter was, and people answered, war.
In the summer of 1941, the German army, having run over much of Western Europe, raced across the Soviet border. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin was caught unprepared, and Hitler's army crushed everything it came upon.
We were all young soldiers. We thought it was great to go to an occupied country as a soldier. You are the master of that country, you believe.
In the first 2 weeks of September, the Germans launched a massive attack on the city of Leningrad, virtually cutting the city off. But after meeting fierce resistance, the Germans decided to lay siege to the city. Hitler did not want Leningrad destroyed. He wanted it as a prize, and he would try to starve the city into surrender. In October, it began to snow, and the relentless Russian winter set in. Rations for the people in the city were down to less than 4 ounces of bread per person per day. By December, 3,000 to 4,000 people were dying every day, 3,700 on Christmas Day alone. But the people of Leningrad would not yield. In a hungry city of 3 million, more than 1 million volunteered for Leningrad's defense. They kept factories going, making guns and ammunition, but they could not produce food. And yet through the winter, this center of Soviet culture hung on.
While they're starving, suffering, dying from shells, engaged sometimes even in eating their pets and even in cannibalism, by the way, nevertheless, other people flocked to the concert halls. They didn't have much to feed their stomachs, so they continued to feed their spirit.
And they died in the street. 200,000 people died in January. In the midst of all this, Zina Generalova had a baby.
She was such a nice big girl, and my husband wanted to have a girl. And then he understood that she won't survive because I had no milk, my natural milk in the breast, nothing.
But winter would now become Leningrad's savior. Lake Ladoga on the city's border had frozen so hard that they could use it as a road. This way, convoys of trucks with life-saving food and fuel were able to reach the city. The Road of Life, people called it, despite the constant German bombing. Zina Generalova will never forget the crossing.
We received some food, and children were given a bar of chocolate. But my baby could not eat chocolate. She died in the carriage. People say, oh, you see, such terrible things are forgotten with time. No. That cannot be forgotten. Never.
And in Leningrad, the siege went on. The city's radio station playing the sound of a metronome to let the world know that Leningrad was still alive. The siege would stretch through another winter. It was broken, finally, in January of 1942, after 880 days. Today, Leningrad has returned to its pre-Soviet name, and St. Petersburg is again the most beautiful city in all of Russia. Home to a new generation which grew up hearing the story of how their city was saved by their grandparents. Throughout the longest siege in history, through not just one winter, but two. If you log onto our website, thecentury.com, there's much more about the siege of Leningrad and the war on the Eastern Front. As always, we would love to share your memories. Back in a moment.
Frequent heartburn. Is it worse at night, especially after dinner? Have you treated it, but still suffer on 2 or more days a week? Has your heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor about Prilosec. Just 1 capsule daily can provide 24-hour complete heartburn relief. 24 hours. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Want 24-hour heartburn relief with 1 daily dose? Ask your doctor about the 24-hour complete heartburn relief of Prilosec.
No more excuses. Zyban is here. Prescription medicine, only available from your doctor. Ask your doctor about Zyban or call 1-888-650-PILL to find out more. Zyban. Now you have another choice.
With its wider track and precise cornering, nothing can contain the White Track Grand Prix, not even your television. Stand by as we adjust your screen. Now you can catch the White Track Grand Prix GT and experience its outstanding cornering and control. Drive it for yourself and see why wider is better. The White Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the Grand Prix GT sedan for just $269 a month. See your Pontiac dealer today.
Tonight, women accused of sexual impurity threatened with death by their fathers and brothers, slaughter in the name of family honor.
Your father pulled a gun out and shot you.
The Diane Sawyer story you'll be talking about 2020 tonight.
Just a brief review of our top story today. A surprise in the Senate impeachment trial. Democrat Robert Byrd of West Virginia, a serious Democratic critic of the president, said he will move to dismiss the case against Mr. Clinton on Monday. He says the votes to convict him are simply not there, and to prolong the trial would only deepen the bitterness in the nation. The notion to dismiss, as we said, could come as early as Monday. That is our report on World News Tonight. Don't forget 2020 later, and then Nightline. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good weekend, and that we'll see you on Monday. Good night.
Saturday, the Pope's visit to Mexico. Brought to you by big name corporations. Why the controversy? Watch ABC's World News Tonight, Saturday. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the